Feminist talk of the guilt a woman faces when sexually harassed like it is her fault. I felt a similar guilt, except my guilt wasn't at being assaulted, but at not reacting more strongly than I did. Those are the words of a young law intern on her blog. Let's quickly bring that blog up on our plasma. That is the blog called Through My Looking Glass. And she's a young law intern who's written her experience of being sexually harassed by no less than a retired Supreme Court judge. Her chosen platform of expression was social media, where she wrote a blog which was first picked up in the legal circles, where sexual harassment in the fraternities, easily the worst kept secret, but has since gone viral. Now that the Chief Justice of India has appointed a 3-member committee to investigate the charges, a lot of what the intern never wrote about might finally come out in the open. But on the social network today, we talk about what she in fact did write about. So on the social network today, we in fact talk about what she did write about the conflict within herself, which she had struggled for nearly a year, and finding no answers, decided to put it out as is. So that's what we discuss on the social network today, Coward or Conflicted Sexual Assault blog. And let's just quickly take you through a couple of websites that in fact picked up the blog. That is, of course, barandbench.com. Then the other place that picked up her blog was Legally India. And from there, of course, it was picked up by mainstream media. And it is, in fact, a very complex and a very layered discourse. And to talk a little bit more about that, in the studio, we're joined by Shamnath. He is a professor of law. He's a professor of law at the National Law School in Kolkata. We're also joined by Swati, who's a lawyer at the Delhi High Court. We're also going to be joined by Rita Banerjee, who's going to be joining us from Kolkata to talk. She joins us to talk a little bit more about what this really means in terms of feminism. But before we bring in our guests, let's quickly listen into a couple of blogs that you, the viewers, have sent us.
जो भी बात हुई है इसकी कि लड़की को हरास किया गया एक होटल रूम में, एकदम से गलत है। ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए। लड़की को खुलकर सामने आना चाहिए कि जिस जज ने उसको हरास किया उसके अगेंस्ट में उसको कंप्लेंट करनी चाहिए, एफआईआर दर्ज करनी चाहिए कि हाँ कुछ फोर्सेज हैं, लीड फोर्सेज हैं यहाँ पर।
मेरे ख्याल से उसे अगर अपोज करना ही था तो उसे स्ट्रिक्टली आके अपोज करना चाहिए था, ना कि उसका नाम दबा के बचा के या फिर उसकी इज्जत के। अगर आप अपोज करें तो आपको अपोज करना है, क्योंकि अगर आप सही हैं तो आप सही हैं, अगर गलत हैं तो आप गलत हैं।
All right, that of course was some of the perspectives. In fact, a lot of very mixed reactions are coming in on that young girl's blog, and we're going to pick up some of those reactions in just a bit. But I want to start with you, Shamnath, since of course she is your former student. What do you make of this blog? You've seen some of the remarks coming in. A lot of people are saying that she should have gone public with a lot of the information that she's withheld, but a lot of people are saluting her for what she did in fact choose to do.
Yeah, I think it's sort of easy to sort of look at it and say, well, she should have done more. But just the amount that she put out, if you look at it in the larger context of how we have an entire ecosystem that essentially is completely weighed against any woman making an allegation, particularly against people in positions of power, right? It takes a lot for them to really come up and to come out with any such incident, because I think there's a lot of conflict that's going on inside. They're trying to wish it away. They're trying to hope that it never happened. By the time they come to full terms with it, they're wondering about the repercussions, about the consequences. So it really takes a lot for someone to reconcile the incident within themselves, and then to project it outside and to try and find some sort of closure. And to me, her blog piece, was incredibly evolved to a large degree, because it showed a student who was very thoughtful, and I'm incredibly proud to be part of the institution where she studied, because it was a very evolved blog piece which basically said, look, there are all these categories, there are all these pegs. I've read about the feminist movement, I've read about all this stuff, but yet my own experience is such
not as
that
black and white.
Absolutely, it's not black and white. I find it difficult to peg what I went through within any of these existing holes that exist.
Yeah.
And therefore, this is my way of trying to come to terms with it in terms of expressing myself.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to demonize the person.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she was very clear that she was trying to find a way in which this would not be repeated. So in a way, she's taking us back to what the criminal justice system and what the legal system should really be about, which is really trying to make sure that things like this are not committed in future. Not that we want the person demonized, not that we want revenge, not that we want vengeance, but we want closure in a way that heals all.
Yeah. So, Swati, then why do you feel that she should have put more detail out in that blog?
Not just detail. See, when you go to social media, when you use this powerful medium today, you have to realize before you write anything which goes into public domain, you have to have some more substance in it, right? And if you write whatever you may write about, and that too especially if it's about the highest institution about the country, judiciary is the most respectful and respectable institution of the country today. All of us, not just the fraternity, but I'm sure even the citizens, we all look up to the Supreme Court. So when you write anything which might demean that reputation, you have to take responsibility for it, first of all. Secondly, you have to give some more details so that it's established, or maybe now that the committee is appointed, there will be an inquiry.
But you feel that, even before this committee, you feel that she should have given more details of perhaps describing the incident maybe?
No,
naming the person maybe?
Not naming the person for sure.
Yeah.
You can't name, not naming the person, but maybe, if she chose, because otherwise she should have, first of all, she should have filed an FIR if she really wanted to take action. But in the blog she writes that she does not want to demean, she doesn't want to bring the person's reputation or life's work at stake. So that's the reason she's chosen this, and she doesn't want to take any action against the person.
Yeah.
That's one bit. But again, when you write something, you have to be responsible for what you write.
Yeah.
So she should have something more substantial for the inquiry.